What's up, everybody? It's the Goat here. I'm reviewing some of my favorite bands, talking about them, and explaining why I think you should give them a shot as well. If there's a band you'd like me to check out for a review, please tell me about it in the comments, or preferably, join my group on Facebook. To join my group, or the link down in the description. Today, I'm going to talk about Alice in Chains' debut album, Facelift. Alice in Chains is a hard rock / heavy metal band that formed in Seattle in 1987, originally as Alice and Chains, a la Guns N' Roses. If you listen to the demo, you can clearly hear that they were more your average rock / hair metal band that was popular from the mid to late 80s, before eventually becoming the rougher and more dissonant musicians that they would be known as. The original members were Layne Staley on vocals, Jerry Cantrell on guitar as well as backing vocals, Mike Starr on bass guitar, and finally Sean Kinney on percussion. The main songwriter has always been Jerry Cantrell, but Layne Staley would eventually become more involved in the process, writing lyrics and forming vocal harmonies with Cantrell. Facelift was released in August 1990, contains 12 songs, and has a total length of approximately 54 minutes. These 12 tracks vary, both in style as well as subject matter. We Die Young, the first track on the album and also the first released single, is a fast-moving and aggressive tune, and clocking in at just over 2.5 minutes is also the shortest song on the album. The song was written by Jerry Cantrell. Regarding what inspired him to write this song, he said, "I was riding the bus to rehearsal, and I saw these kids with beepers, selling drugs. The sight of these kids selling drugs using beepers and cell phones equaled We Die Young to me." I personally think it's one of the less memorable tracks on the album, but it's not bad by any means. The second track on the album, as well as the second single, Man in the Box, was definitely the big hit. When MTV ended up adopting the music video into the daily lineup, people went crazy over it. It has remained a fan favorite up to this day, and used to be their standard gig closing track. This is one of only 5 tracks on the album which Layne wrote the lyrics to. Regarding his lyrics, he simply said, "It's basically about censorship within the mass media, and I was really stoned when I wrote it." It's a decent track, clocks in at just under 5 minutes, it's pretty upbeat, with a simple but effective riff and beastly vocals from Layne, especially during the chorus. This is also a good example of how their sound would later develop from a vocal and melodic standpoint. The third track on this album, and fourth release single, Sea of Sorrow, is noteworthy in that it's the only track on this album which includes Sean Kinney playing the piano. When the song was released as a single, it was cut for radio and for the music videos, removing half of Cantrell's guitar solo, as well as complete second verse. Besides that though, the song is very nice, with a fairly catchy chorus, and it seems to be about a failed relationship and how it's important to rise above the bullshit and just keep moving forward. I especially enjoy the bass line on this one. It swings really well behind the guitar, and the shifts between the bridges and the chorus are very cool, with nice and dynamic drum fills before crashing us with bellowing vocals and distorted guitars. Check it out. The fourth track and third release single, Bleed the Freak, is definitely one of my favorites off of the album. It includes great melodies and riffs from the guitar, awesome vocals from Layne throughout, hard and steady rhythm from the bass and drum, and an overall deep and well-rounded sound in all parts. The meaning of this song, according to Cantrell, is, "The song is us against the world, those people who put you down. I put up with many years of putting us down and watching us bleed. Now I'd like to see you bleed some back." It starts us off with an acoustic melody and electric guitar solo, slowly builds when Layne starts to sing, before the drum and bass suddenly crash in, bringing us a powerful and beautiful chorus. Truly a great track. The fifth track, I Can't Remember, is another song written by Layne Staley. It opens with a slow build and an acoustic guitar melody which can only be described as peculiar, but also it's very telling of what would become their future dynamic and more or less a necessary ingredient in most of their music. I can't find any stated meaning behind the song, but I would think it has something to do with rejection. Listen to it and decipher it for yourself. It has a good guitar melody, more brilliant vocals from Layne, and a strong rhythmic backing, especially during the build-up in my opinion. The sixth track, Love Hate Love, also written by Lane Staley, is certainly one of the best songs on the album. There's a clear emotional turmoil in Lane's voice on this track, and the backing music is wonderful in strengthening this emotion as well as illustrating just how down Lane must have felt when writing and recording this. I can't find an official statement on what led Lane to write this track, but my interpretation is that it's about being cheated on. It's a great track. The slow build in the beginning with some amazing drum work from Sean Kinney, what I consider to be one of Jerry Cantrell's best guitar solos, and the ending, oh. You're truly doing yourself a disservice if you don't know this song, and you must check it out immediately. The seventh track, It Ain't Like That, is written by Jerry Cantrell. Right off the bat from the opening riff, you can tell that this is going to be a heavy song. And it is. Probably one of the heaviest on the album. The song seems to be about an endless cycle of pain, and how you keep the cycle moving, despite trying to convince yourself that, well, it ain't like that anymore. Features great musical work from Cantrell starring Kinney, as well as great vocals from Lane, and a beautiful vocal harmony between him and Cantrell during the chorus. Definitely worthy of a good listen. The eighth track, Sunshine, is a beautiful song written by Jerry Cantrell, with many peaks and valleys, from the opening build, to the rushed and heavy bridge, to the sudden slowdown of the chorus. This is definitely a track that deserves more recognition from both a musical and lyrical point of view. Concerning the lyrics, I think this song is about paternal abandonment, but also not being able to completely rely on your mother either. Beautiful song. Cantrell's guitar solo really has an emotion to it that adds a new layer of meaning to the song when listening to it, that can really cause your heart to bleed. And the vocal harmony during the chorus is magnificent as well. Another one of my all-time favorites from them, not even just from this album but in general. The ninth track, Put You Down, is another fast tempo, though not necessarily a hard track written by Jerry Cantrell. It has an upbeat groove and a kick-ass guitar riff from Cantrell. I think this song is about being in love, the addictive feelings that it can give you and how hard it can be to turn away from that, even when it's clearly best that you shouldn't grow too attached. Not one of their best in my opinion, but it's certainly not a bad song, and it does separate itself from the rest in its own way. It has a very nice, hard and steady drum track, and a bit of a Southern American twang feel, like something Lynyrd Skynyrd might have made had they been a grunge band, if that makes sense. I don't need you, I just can't put you down. The 10th track, Confusion, is another one of the songs written by Lane Staley. This song includes some of the best, if not the best, vocals on this album. Seriously, try to sing along with it. I can promise it'll feel like a workout, especially towards the bridge. This track also includes great vocal harmonizing between Lane and Jerry during the chorus, a beautiful guitar melody and solo from Cantrell, and as always a solid backing by Starr and Kinney. Starr in particular has a very strong hitting bass line during the bridge and chorus, which I think is amazing, even in its simplicity. I think this song is simply about loving people who hurt you, and hurting the people you love. Another all-time favorite, you have to hear the song at least once in your life. The 11th track, I Know Something, is written by Jerry Cantrell, and is another standout due to its seemingly funk-influenced guitar riff. Besides that, it's an upbeat song, featuring some more great vocal work from Lane, and more steady backing rhythm from Starr and Kinney. This song is probably about the media, and how they love to dig up dirt and besmudge other people's names for the sake of entertainment and monetary gain. The bass line on this one is also really sick. Not one of my favorites, but once again, it's by no means a bad song and definitely worth checking out. And now we're at the 12th and final track, as well as the last of the 5 written by Lane Staley. Real Thing is another one of my all-time favorites, and a masterful ending to a superb debut album. Cantrell opens up with a dark melody, with a seemingly mischievous undertone, with Kinney and Starr hitting in on certain intervals. Lane once again slays his vocals like a pro and sounds like he's having a ball, despite the song having some of the more obvious and depressing meanings and undertones. This song, at least as far as I can tell, is quite obviously about cocaine abuse, and the seemingly endless cycle of addiction, rehabilitation, recovery, and again giving in to craving, resetting the cycle once more. This track is definitely worth a listen.
They said, son, you're gonna be a new man. I said, thank you very much to get up on the dead body.
Overall, Facelift is a great album. Though there are a couple tracks here or there that aren't exactly standouts, or really all that amazing in my opinion, it's hard to consider any of them to be filler in the traditional sense. This is probably one of the best debut albums ever, certainly of the 90s, and it's clear that they were still finding their sound, which they would eventually hone 2 years later with their even better album, Dirt. Alice in Chains is one of those bands that seem, at least to me and the area that I live, to have been lost in time and a bit underappreciated, and you should definitely give them and this album another look. And if you've never heard of them or this album, you're really missing out and should really, definitely give it a shot. I give Facelift 9 out of 10 stars, definitely a recommendation. I'll almost certainly get around to reviewing their other albums, as well as their EPs eventually. In the meantime, how about you comment down below what your favorite track on this album is, and whether or not you enjoy the music Alice in Chains is currently releasing. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. If you wish to follow me in reviewing more music, please subscribe. And if you wish to recommend music for a review, discuss music, or request that I discuss any topic in my other segments, please leave a comment, or better yet, consider joining my group on Facebook. Thank you for watching and good day. The GOAT is out.